Disclaimer: this story contains mature themes intended for adult viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. I never thought a single glance could unravel everything I believed about love, loyalty, and the quiet rules we live by. But that evening, across a softly lit room filled with low laughter and clinking glasses, I saw the way she looked at him, not careless, not innocent, but searching, as if she recognized something in him that even I had never fully touched. My smile stayed in place, yet inside something stirred, a slow, unfamiliar warmth mixed with doubt. We were four people bound by comfort, friendship, and unspoken boundaries. Safe, predictable, until the spaces between us began to change. Her laughter lingered a second too long near him. His voice softened when he spoke to her. And then there was her husband, quiet, observant, standing beside me like he understood the storm forming beneath my calm surface. Later that night, when the lights were dim and the world outside felt far away, his fingers brushed mine. Not by accident, not rushed. Just a gentle touch, warm, steady, questioning. I should have pulled away. I didn't. In that silence our eyes met, and without a word something passed between us. Curiosity, loneliness, maybe even permission. Upstairs, a door clicked shut somewhere in the house. My heart pounded, not with fear but with the weight of a choice forming in the dark. One step forward would change everything. The way we loved, the way we saw each other, the way we would never be the same again. And as his hand slowly tightened around mine, I didn't let go. The warmth of his hand should have felt wrong, but instead it felt steady, grounding, like something I had been searching for without knowing. I told myself to move, to break the silence before it grew louder than my thoughts. Yet neither of us stepped away. Across the room shadows shifted softly. And somewhere upstairs a faint laugh faded into quiet, leaving only the sound of our breathing and the echo of everything unsaid. "Are you okay?" he asked, his voice low, careful, as if afraid the moment might shatter if spoken too loudly. I nodded, though my heart was racing. "I don't know," I whispered back, and for the first time that night, honesty slipped past my defenses. His thumb brushed lightly against my hand, slow, hesitant, a question without words. The touch sent a quiet spark through me, not wild, not reckless, but deeply unsettling in its tenderness. We moved to the window, drawn by the cool night air slipping through the curtain. The world outside was still, but inside, everything felt alive, charged. I could feel his presence beside me, warm, patient, waiting. My mind whispered reasons to step back: loyalty, fear, the fragile balance we all shared, yet my heart leaned closer to the unknown. "What happens now?" I asked, barely louder than the night. He didn't answer right away. Instead, his gaze held mine, steady, searching, like he was looking for permission or maybe courage. The space between us felt smaller, heavier, filled with possibility neither of us dared to name. Somewhere upstairs a door creaked again, and neither of us moved away. The silence between us deepened, no longer gentle but heavy, filled with everything neither of us dared to say. I could feel it in the way his breathing slowed when I shifted closer, in the way my pulse stumbled when his shoulder brushed mine. It wasn't an accident this time, it was awareness. It was choice waiting to be made. But choices have consequences, and both of us knew it. "We shouldn't," I began softly, though the words felt fragile, uncertain, like they didn't fully belong to me. My mind painted images of the life I knew, the promises spoken in safer days, the comfort of certainty. Yet standing here wrapped in this quiet storm, certainty felt distant, almost unreal. He turned slightly toward me, close enough that I could see the conflict in his eyes. Not hesitation but restraint. His hand lifted, almost reaching for my face, before stopping midway, suspended between desire and discipline. That pause said more than any confession could. He wanted this moment and feared it just as much. Footsteps echoed faintly somewhere down the hall, reminding us we weren't alone in this fragile night. Reality pressed in the walls, the memories, the invisible lines we were never meant to cross. I felt his fingers brush mine again, softer this time, like a goodbye he wasn't ready to give. I almost leaned closer. For a heartbeat the world faded. No past, no future, only the space between us, trembling with unspoken truth. But then I stepped back, not because the feeling was weak, but because it was too strong, too real, too capable of changing everything we had ever known. His eyes didn't leave mine. And neither of us said a word. The distance between us was no longer safe. It pulsed alive, fragile, like a single breath could shatter it or pull us closer than we ever intended to be. I could hear my heartbeat louder than the quiet house, louder than reason, louder than the voice telling me to walk away. "I tried to ignore it," he said quietly, his voice almost lost in the stillness. Tonight, all of this, I didn't expect to feel this much. His words were careful, but the emotion behind them wasn't. It was raw, honest, unprotected. My chest tightened. I had been holding the same truth inside, afraid to give it shape, afraid to make it real. Yet hearing him say it made the silence heavier and strangely softer too. "You think I didn't feel it?" I whispered, my voice trembling despite me. The moment the words left, there was no hiding anymore. No pretending this was confusion or coincidence. It was something deeper, something that had been growing quietly, waiting for this fragile, dangerous night. He stepped closer, not rushed, not uncertain, just one quiet step that erased the fragile space between us. I could feel his warmth now, the steady rhythm of his breath, the quiet tension in his stillness, like he was holding himself back with everything he had. His hand lifted again, slower this time, and gently brushed against my fingers. Electric, neither of us moved away. Time seemed to fold in on itself. The world beyond this moment faded, no voices, no walls, no past to anchor us. Just this quiet pull, this undeniable gravity drawing us closer. His forehead nearly touched mine, and for a heartbeat even the air felt too heavy to breathe. "I don't want to hurt anyone," he murmured. "Neither do I replied, though my voice carried the truth neither of us could deny. But still, neither of us stepped back. And in that suspended moment, breath shared, hearts racing, hands barely holding, silence said everything words never could. The night unfolded like a quiet storm, slow, deep, impossible to stop once it began. Outside, rain whispered softly against the windows, the steady rhythm blending with the hush of the room. The world felt distant, blurred by shadow and silver light, leaving only the warmth between us, real, undeniable, alive. We didn't rush. There was no sudden movement, no reckless urgency. Just closeness, just presence. His hand found mine again. Not questioning this time, but certain, like we had both crossed the invisible line long before this moment arrived. My breath trembled as I stepped closer, and when his arms wrapped gently around me, it felt less like surrender and more like truth finally spoken. The air between us grew warm, heavy with everything we had held back. My head rested lightly against him, listening to the quiet rhythm of his heart, steady yet unguarded. No words were needed. None could have captured what this felt like, the slow melting of fear, the dissolving of distance, the fragile beauty of letting go. Outside, the rain fell harder, as if the night itself understood. His breath brushed against my hair, warm and calming, and I felt my own breath fall into sync with his, two silences becoming one. Time slipped away, the world faded. There was no past, no future, only this moment suspended in soft light and quiet emotion. The closeness wasn't fire or chaos, it was warmth, deep and consuming, like finding something you didn't know your soul had been searching for. My fingers tightened slightly against him, not out of need but out of certainty. No hesitation remained, no walls. Just the quiet understanding that sometimes hearts speak louder when words fall away. And as the rain softened, the night wrapped around us, still, breathless and forever changed. Morning arrived quietly, without drama, without answers. Soft light filtered through the curtains, pale and honest, touching everything the night had left behind, not in the room but in the heart. I woke slowly, aware of the silence first. Not empty, just heavy, like the world itself was waiting to see what we would do next. He was already awake, sitting by the window, lost somewhere between thought and feeling. The distance between us was small, yet it felt different now, no longer fragile but deeper, layered with something we couldn't undo. Neither of us spoke at first. Words felt too simple for what had changed. "Are you okay?" he finally asked, his voice softer than the morning light. I took a breath, unsure of the truth myself. "I don't regret it," I admitted quietly, and that was the most honest thing I could say. There was confusion, yes. Questions, fears, the echo of boundaries we once believed unbreakable. But beneath it all there was also calm, a strange steady peace. Footsteps approached outside the room. A gentle knock followed. We both looked toward the door, tension rising not from fear but from reality stepping back into our world. When the door opened, she stood there, quiet, composed, yet her eyes held something new. Not anger, not shock, understanding. Behind her, her husband lingered, equally silent, equally aware. No one spoke for a long moment. Then she smiled, faint, knowing, almost relieved, as if the truth between all of us had finally surfaced, unhidden, undeniable. Whatever this was, it was no longer confusion. It was connection, complicated, imperfect, but real. And in that quiet morning light, I realized the night hadn't broken us. It had changed us. The quiet between us no longer felt uncertain. It felt understood. Days passed, yet the fragile tension that once filled every glance had softened into something warmer, something steady. We didn't rush to define it. Some connections don't need names, they only need truth. And what we shared now was honest, chosen, real. That evening the four of us sat together as the sun dipped low, painting the room in gold and shadow. No secrets remained, only awareness, gentle and calm. There had been confusion, fear, and questions, but none of it had broken us. Instead, it had opened something deeper, a rare understanding few ever reach. Later, when the night grew quiet and the world slowed again, he found me by the window, the same place where everything once began. But this time there was no storm inside me, no conflict, just peace. "You feel it too, don't you?" he asked softly. I nodded. Not fire, not chaos. Something calmer, something lasting. He stepped closer, and I rested my forehead gently against his. The touch was simple, tender, yet it carried everything words could never hold. No urgency, no fear, only warmth, only knowing. His hand brushed softly along mine, familiar now, steady as a promise spoken without sound. And in that quiet moment, surrounded by soft night and steady hearts, I understood love doesn't always arrive the way we expect. Sometimes it comes quietly, after the storm, asking not for perfection, only for honesty. The future was still unwritten, the world still uncertain, but our hearts were calm, and for the first time that was enough.